Hi guys, dwburman here, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that I'm sorry about posting the last video I posted because the audio was so out of sync that the actual video recording wasn't actually showing anything being done. So it was a completely useless video. So I hope you guys didn't waste too much time looking for content that wasn't there. Um, anyway, I'm going to redo that part on a different piece of the set. So we'll show you how to set up backdrops in Modeler. So basically, here's what I'm working on. It's a personal project, and I'm mapping some very simple line drawings onto some very simple geometry. Well, maybe the line drawings aren't that simple, but the geometry is very simple. So in order to get to the point where we can actually cut things up, and I'll show that in a different video, we have to figure out how to basically make things line up in LightWave. So without further delays and looking at a screen that's not doing anything, I will come into Modeler. I have some images preloaded in my image editor. You can see that there. Look, I have images preloaded. This is the one I'm interested in here, this Bridge O2 TIFF. It's a scan that I made. So let's quickly go over to, and when I say quickly, I mean slowly and deliberately. Apparently, to edit display options, I usually just hit D, so it takes me a little while to find the actual menu location. Along these tabs here, we have a backdrop, and in this backdrop tab, we have different viewport options. We have top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and I want to put it in the back view, so I'll do bottom left, and I will go load, and I want to do that one there, and you'll see I have an image in there. Now what size is it? Well, it's a meter high, and that doesn't really help in what I want to do because I'm actually building this thing to real world scale. But first of all, let me just up the resolution, and that way we can see. Well, if I zoom in, you'll see why. If I leave this at 512, it'll probably work for most of our circumstances, but you know, if you want to do any detailed work, you need to have the resolution higher. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to get this scaled to the appropriate size. You notice I have a desk here. It's kind of a standing desk, but I'll pretend it's actual desk height. I also have these tables here. First I'm going to hit the box button, and I'm going to drag out a box. And I'm going to set the height of the box. Where's my numeric panel? N for numeric. And I want this to be 29 inches high. I don't know if that's exactly the height of the desk that I want it to be, but we'll say that the desk height is 29 inches high. That way it will match the other desk things that I have. And I'll just move this over here and basically put it on the ground level. So this is just for reference. This is just to let me know how big to scale the image up. Now, it's hard to see this, so let's go over to our display options again, and we'll just change I think I'll just hit invert and see what that does. There we go. Now I can see my wireframe a little better. And if I play with the contrast slider, you can see we can change the image here somewhat so we can get an easier view. We can more easily tell which part is the image and which part is the actual object. So I need to scale this up quite a bit. And I'm just going to punch in a number here. It'll say scale it by 5.5 meters. Now this changes the size of the background picture. And that's all it's changing is the size of the reference image. And that looks like it might be a bit much, but I don't know. Let me move it up. You can see we have controls here for the resolution, which I already showed you. Brightness and contrast. Pixel blending is whether it blurs it or not. If I set the resolution low, you saw how blocky it was. Pixel blending will try to smooth it out, but it'll be blurry. Vertical center, I want to raise up. Let's try 2 meters. 1 meter. I did not pre-calculate these. So you can see if I put the floor level there, it's much too tall. No, not terribly too tall. Let's try 5 meter scale. Of course, fixed aspect ratio means that it's scaling horizontal and vertical the same. I don't want to stretch the image in this case. Automatic size, I'm not sure exactly what that relates to. So I won't fix it now. So that's pretty close. You can see there's kind of the floor level, and here's the desk level. So that's about where I want it to be. It needs to be rotated. I should probably do that in Photoshop, but I think I'll just handle that in another stage. So there's that. That just gives us our reference. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to make a box and drag it out like this. I want to zoom in on the corner and do that. This is not part of the reference image specifically, but this gets me a plane or a box that is the exact size or very close to the size of the scanned image, so that when I map the image onto this plane, it will be the correct size and the correct aspect ratio. So let me go over to my surface editor. I'll just rename this to kitchen. It's really a break room kind of an area, but there's my plane. I have texture view on. If I come over to the color button, I can add my texture as a planar projection down the Z because I'm looking down the back, and just add that, and there we go. You can see the image is tiled, and that doesn't really help us, but if I come back over here and do automatic sizing, you'll see, hey, look, there it is, it's full size. It's backwards, but it's full size. If I just hit F on the polygon, there we go. That's actually probably going to be reversed, but no, that's what I want. So there we go, there's the drawing on a flat plane. Now, in Modeler, and this is not true of layout, but in Modeler, if I grab this geometry, there we go, and I move it around, you'll notice that the picture stays in one place as the geometry moves through it. Now, why is that happening? That's because we're in Modeler and modeling mode, so the image is actually projected in world space in Modeler, even though it's checked off as being local space. But in layout, if you move something around, if I take this object into layout and move it around in layout, the image will stick exactly where it is in Modeler. But if I move it around, if I move the geometry around yeah. Long story short, it behaves differently in here. If we want this to actually, if we want the image to move around with the geometry, like say we wanted to cut out this one particular part here and move it around to another area on the scene, in order to do that we have to UV map this. So to UV map it, I'm just going to go over to the T button down here and select new, and I will call this wall. It's not a great descriptive name. I want the projection to be down the Z-axis, and automatic setting is set to automatic. And this is important in this case because I made this box the exact size of the image, the exact shape of the image, so everything will fit properly. If it's not the same size, then things will get stretched. The images will get stretched. So, yeah, this isn't an in-depth UV mapping tutorial by any stretch of the range, any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so back in color, changing the projection map to UV, and I'll change the UV map to wall, and there we go. Now we have our image projected on our plane. And as I move the plane around, you can see the image goes with it. Now, you could use this plane as a render or as a reference as well that shows up in the texture view or in the perspective view, whereas I don't think this other thing will show up. Let's try it. Top right. Nope, I don't have options for backdrop option. So if you like to have a reference photo on a card in your perspective view while you model, this is the way you do it. You UV map, well, you don't have to UV map it if it's in place and the scale is correct, the aspect ratio is correct, but if you UV map it, you can move it around. For instance, if I can even knife through here and I'll just cut and paste. So now these are two separate pieces. If I move this piece around, you notice the little computer goes with it. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to cover is in the image editor. You notice how this image here, up in the window, is in the perspective window, is solid white and black, and you can't really see the outlines of the polygons very well. In fact, you can't really see them at all. But we changed the contrast down here in the backdrop view, but that doesn't change it anywhere else. So if we want to change the contrast and settings on that, we can actually do that in the image editor. Just click on the image, go to the processing tab, the editing tab, and then we can change our brightness and hue. And this is actually a nicer way to do it, because you have a little more control, I think. So there's that. You can also adjust the gamma, but it shouldn't make much of a difference in a black and white image. So there you go. There's setting up a backdrop image. And you'll notice if I come over here, this is changed as well, because the backdrop image setting comes after the image editor setting. So you may want to just come back here to this and reset these. Oh, one other thing, D for display options. You can actually save and load backdrops. So if you need to come back, stop modeling and come back, this is how you do that. Again, sorry for being a little long-winded and out of sorts on this video. Sorry for putting a video up that was not worth watching at all. And I hope this worked out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and check out my paid videos at liberty3d.com, where I actually sit down and edit a video and post and clarify things where they need to be clarified and provide scene content and all of that other good stuff that comes with a not free video. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.